I feel like I have been fortunate to like continuously be able to continuously appreciate more and more music. So I definitely want to go back and listen to Awaken My Love now. Yeah, man, The Weeknd's album, Donald Glover's album, some good amongst the bad.
I don't like, so I like, I mean, Donald Glover is weird, you know, like he just does weird stuff sometimes. And like
names most of the songs on the album after the time when they start on the album.
They start on the album. Yes, that's exactly where I was going. It's like, I get it. I understand it. And I feel like I have the right to not like it. Like, I just was like, okay, fine. That's the, you know, you want to do something and that's the thing you want to do, but I just don't feel it. I'm not feeling it.
Well, I was reading something in the subreddit. It was either Hip Hop Heads or the Donald Glover subreddit where they're talking about how he ended his the collab with Adidas ended, and like part of that apparently was he had to release music. I'm hearing the secondhand from comments there, but sounds like maybe this was just him being like, fucking fine, I'll release an album. And it's like, if this is his like making an album to get out of a contract album. Damn.
Well, I forget who it was who had like somebody
Ellie
had
Goulding?
a contract. Was it Ellie Goulding?
I believe she. Or was it Kesha?
Neil Young did an album that was like electronic music in the early 80s because he had a contract that he was desperately trying to get out of.
I thought that someone had a contract and they made like 4 albums over the course of 4 years to get out of the contract or something like that. But maybe I'm just making that up. I definitely
remember hearing. Was Skrillex dating? Was it Kesha or Ellie Goulding? One of those
probably
two
Ellie Goulding
had the contract that they wanted to get out of, and well,
I mean, Kesha had a contract she wanted to get out of, but like in a very different way.
Yeah, they didn't want to. The court didn't let her out of it. So then I think she just powered through it. Neil Young's electronic album. What's up with that?
Yeah, I think this one, it was Trans, I want to say, was the one he made. That was just like, he was just desperate to get out of the contract that he had. And so he just kind of did stuff that doesn't sound anything like him.
Yeah, 1982. Yeah.
Interesting. Late 1980 to mid 1982, Young spent much of his waking hours carrying out a therapy program for his young son Ben, who was born with cerebral palsy and unable to speak. Neil disclosed to almost no one at the time that he was doing so, or that the repetitive nature on the songs on both the previous album Reactor and this one related to the exercises he was performing with Ben. How about that?
I know Weird Al's last album was like he had like a 10 album deal or something like that with RCA, and so he was under contract for 32 years, and his last album was his last album on that contract, and it's just like, maybe I'll just like do whatever I want now.
32-year contract.
Yeah, which I don't think is technically allowed. Can you not? I thought you can't enter a contract for more than 7 years or something like that.
Well, what about all those baseball deals?
That's true.
Yeah, there's got to be something. I mean, because it's not he's not entering a contract for 7 years.
And it's not, not a year contract.
He's entering a contract for 10 albums. So if he had done those all in 7 months, he'd have been out in 7 months.
Right. That's true. I don't know.
What was murder for that kind of like employment stability, though, right? Like, can you imagine that?
For sure. Like, yeah, absolutely. God, give me a 32-year contract, I'll take it tomorrow. Like, that's fine.
A contract in general. Like, yeah, regarding your desire for like, guaranteed employment for a long time, I can feel you.
All this time I've wasted waiting for the world to end. Veering off the open road, anchors away.
Hello, helicopters, and welcome to this episode of Motion City Podcast. I am, as always, Naim Siddiqui. Joining me, as always, Jake Walden. How's it going, Jake?
Great.
And you heard already, we've got a guest on this episode, our very first guest. It is my good friend, Alex Payette. How's it going, Alex?
It's going well, guys. Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're talking about I Can Feel You, which is the third track on Panic Station's, the sixth and as yet final album for Motion City Soundtrack. For now.
Oh,
as
boy.
yet.
Just be
I said
latest?
as yet.
Isn't just latest the word you're looking for then?
Well, because they broke up. And then they kind of got back together, and
No
they
one
have no
means
plans
that.
to make new music. So, but like, who knows? They got back
fucking
together.
Eagles got
so
back
it is
together.
the latest, technically, but who knows?
The Beatles put out stuff after John died.
I mean, you're not wrong. This one was a little different. Usually either Jake or I picks the song, or sometimes we choose together. This time, we sent a list of 5 songs to Alex, because he's... real quick, Alex, what's your history with Motion City Soundtrack?
I have none, actually.
Not zero.
I graduated high school in 2005, right? And so, at that time you had the Get Up Kids and Dashboard and Jimmy Eat World and Alkaline Trio, and those were really the bands that I was listening to. And so, Motion City Soundtrack was in the air, but they were never a band that I specifically listened to. There's actually a good chance I saw them at a show and didn't realize. Just because, they were around all at that same time, putting out kind of similar music. So it's something I should have always liked, but somehow wasn't super aware of. It was just it was there, but it wasn't. Other people listened to them, and I just kind of heard them every once in a while. So this is actually really fun because this was something you sent me the list of the songs, and I don't know, it was discovering those bands that I had listened to, religiously, hearing something like that for the first time now at 33 instead of 13. And so it hits a lot differently, but there's this strange nostalgia still for a thing I never listened to before, which is kind of a weird experience.
What's funny is, because this is obviously, this is from the last album, which was 2016. I did send you a couple of tracks from Commit This to Memory, which was 05, and then one from I Am the Movie, which is 03, which is an album that was produced by the Get Up Kids producer, Ed Rose. Mm-hmm. But you picked Over It Now. Oh, no, Over It Now, sorry. You picked I Can Feel You. Why this song of the list of the ones I sent you?
So, actually... can I reveal the list or
sure,
other songs?
Fine, yeah.
Okay. So it's between this and Feel Like Rain for me. But I really thought you were going to pick Feel Like Rain. I thought I was going to pick it too.
To lay money on it, that's what I thought you were going to go with.
Because when I first put that one on, I was instantly just oh yeah, okay, I can feel this, right? And then. I still wanted to stay true to the options and not just jump into the first one, and so I listened to all the other ones, and then I got to I Can Feel You, and honestly, it just it kind of hit me, the movements of it kind of hit me a little bit more. It's got that great build, and in the middle section there of the song where it, he starts, kind of the crescendo and the increasing of the speed of the tempo too, and so that's what really attracted me to it. It honestly kind of reminded me of, and I can't help but think of the bands that I did listen to when this was what I listened to most often, and it reminded me a lot of Polaris by Jimmy Eat World. And that's my favorite song on that album, Futures. And so when I heard this one, I was just oh yeah, just the whole I think third movement basically of the song, that really, really spoke to me. I enjoyed that so much.
It's funny because when I told Jake what song you picked, because we a week ago on a phone, on a Google Hangout, we're just shooting the shit about music and stuff, and we were talking about Jimmy Eat World. And so Jake actually, when I was like, well, what songs do you think I should send to Alex, started like picking specifically songs that he thought sounded like Jimmy Eat World, just because that's the thing he knew most about you. And I sent the list and just sent back this song, and Jake was like, yeah, I can see how that has Jimmy vibes. And I was like, sure.
But still, like it was a hard choice, honestly, to go between those two.
Well, maybe when we do feel like rain, we'll have you on the show again.
Yeah, I'd love to be back.
Well, hold on, you haven't gone through the whole show yet. We don't know for sure.
That's true. Yeah, we'll see what feedback you guys get. I mean, I know I'll never listen to this episode, but we'll see what your numbers are like.
I will say, because you bring up that sort of that third movement, that crescendo, and I think that crescendo, I think, is my favorite part of this album. Yep. Like that whole little, like, I never know who I am, I only know what I'm not, like that whole chunk of this song, of this whole, what is this, 11-track album, I think is just my favorite part of this album. It's I don't know, like, because I think of the rest of the song, and it's like I like the rest of the song, but like some parts of it are like, you know, less good than others. But that run is just so excellent, and I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I had a problem with like the first jump from the first verse to first chorus. I feel like that jump is a little, I don't know the right word for it. It's a little jarring, maybe. But there's like, you can't not move to that run. Like, it's impossible. Yeah. No matter what you thought of everything else before it, it's just like you're instantly, and your head is moving, you know. I mean, I know you can't see what I'm doing, but trust me, my head is moving with like the increasing tempo. Like you start going and going and going. It's just like it instantly sucks you in.
Yeah, for sure. And like, that's the thing too, because when I think of this song, I mean, it's called I Can Feel You, and like that part is just sort of at the very end, the I can feel you. And like, I like that part, but like when you think of that part of the song, like I when I think of the song, because that's the part that's in the title, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. And I listened to the song and I was like, oh wait, no, I really like this song. Jake, what about you? You've been a little quiet for this song so far. What do you?
I've just been liking Alex's take on it. You know, I'm gonna be biased to the band. It's one of those things where they can do no wrong. But yeah, the crescendo, the building, it is. When I messaged you like a week and a half ago, talking about how great Panic Station sounded in my car speakers, this was the song I was listening to, and I was parked out of Best Buy because I was gonna look at headphones, and I've just got this going. I'm like, oh my god, I was a wall of sound, and I was just so feeling it.
It's funny because we talked a little bit about on the last episode about sequencing, and I think again, like, you know, if we're thinking of it like a batting lineup, you hit this song and you get the best run of the album, in my opinion, right on the third track on the album, which I feel like speaks to what I was saying this last episode of the third track is, you know, one of the most important tracks. Obviously, the first track and the last track are very important. And you know, we'll talk about Days Will Run Away when we talk about Days Will Run Away, but that's one of the better closers of the oeuvre. But yeah, I think
that's the thing in High Fidelity he talks about when he's making a mixtape. That's like, you know, you need to come out of the gate strong, but you can't blow it all in the first song. So you got to come out hot. You got to dial it back for 2, but then 3 is where you can just like let fly, right? Because like now that we're in it, and so you have that opportunity to go really big. I mean, but honestly, like this song, I feel like because there's so much after that run, it would work really well as a closer too. But
yeah, I definitely.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I can feel that. Jesus, I'm not doing that on purpose.
It's impossible to not say. It's impossible to not say. Yeah,
it really is.
I know.
Days Will Run Away.
So long figuring out how to say it, and now that dam has broken, I mean, it's just a deluge of, you know.
If it weren't Days Will Run Away at the end of this album, which I think hits like a truck.
Well, it's one of those things. It's a Motion City soundtrack closer. Like if you listen to all the albums, you know, besides A-OK, which is on their first album, the rest of them close in a very like a very similar way it feels, which
Well,
is,
this is more of like a melancholy note with Days Will Run Away, but The Weekends I feel is very upbeat.
Really?
As a closer.
No,
I love The Weekends.
To me, The Weekend sounds melancholy, and so does, Hold Me Down is a sad song, like an actively sad song. Floating in the River, I think, is a little bit more upbeat, but for the most part, I feel like Even If It Kills Me is a little bit melancholy, and I don't know. So that's what I feel, at least.
I remember, well, yeah, just what you're saying about. I by the way, I love the High Fidelity reference. I think that puts us at 2 John Cusack references in the show. So
if you need a Gross Point Blank or something like that, I can get you too. Don't worry.
Actually, we already no. So there was a whole opening about how Jake would have more respect for John Cusack if he was a murderer. It's very weird.
It's hard to describe. That's not what I meant.
Okay, but those are the words you said.
Okay, maybe it is what I meant.
Like Jake loves John Cusack, and he'd love him even more if he actually murdered people.
It make him so much more interesting.
We don't know that he hasn't.
It's not a good thing. It's just God.
No, that's also what he was saying, Alex. Is that he seems like he might have actually already murdered people,
that
and
might
that's
be one
why
of the reasons he always shies away from, like, the rat race in Hollywood. He's just got bodies back in Chicago.
He's got actual literal bodies back in Chicago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he makes them all vote Democrat when they're dead. It's a little joke. Topical.
So let's talk a little bit about the meaning of this song. Nothing on song meanings, unsurprisingly. Panic Station's not a lot of love on song meanings, which is another reason that I was a little surprised that Alex enjoyed it so much, because just like Panic Station doesn't get a lot of love, but I guess from an outside perspective, just coming in from, vaguely knowing the band, maybe having heard a couple songs.
Is this me being like someone who just discovered Weezer and be like, Hurley's like my favorite fucking album? Is that what just happened?
No, if you just discovered Weezer, your favorite album would be the Black Album.
Sure. Okay. I don't know. Here's the problem: is I stopped listening to them after the Green. Actually, after Maladroit, so I don't know. I just had to pick one that I knew.
So coincidentally, the other day, I don't remember what it was. Oh no, I think I sometimes I'll tell my Google Home to like just play an album, and what I'll do is I'll tell it to pick a letter, and it'll pick a letter, and I'll be like, okay, now pick an album starting with that letter, or a band starting with that letter, and if I can't think of one, then I'll just pick another letter. So I picked W, and I'm like, okay, cool. So now I listen to the album Weezer by Weezer, and I just kind of wanted to know what it was going to give me, and it gave me the fucking Teal album, and I was so mad. Like, of all the choices, the Teal album? Like, I was legitimately upset.
That's so annoying.
Like, it started playing Africa, and I'm like, no. Not happening.
That album just like doesn't need to exist.
Every part of that album,
not just because like, why are they doing covers? But it's like they just did them all the same. Like they just did everything about it's the same.
Like everything about it. Look, Rivers has a good voice. I don't disagree. Rivers has a good voice, but like, why would I listen to Weezer covering Mr. Blue Sky when ELO did it perfectly good? Like, it's so unnecessary, and I don't like it. And I was
that isn't
really
a Killer song?
Me...
Are you sure?
Like, I was hoping it would give me green or blue, and I was like, look, even if it gives me red or fucking black or white, like, I'll still listen to it and whatever. Like, I'm trying to fall asleep anyway. But it gave me Teal, and I'm like, nope, picking a different letter now. Not happening.
You could have done Wang Chung, by the way. Or Winger.
Wait, what? Did they not do Wang Chung?
No, I'm saying when you were picking you could have picked a different band, that's all. Winger would have been a good one.
A different band. Yeah. No,
Wang Chung would have been a good one.
It was the first one that came to mind, and then I was like, well, cool, picking a different letter now. I mean, like, I could have also just said play, Pinkerton, like, but I...
Oh, you could have been like every fan at their concerts, Pinkerton, like that.
Excuse you, no. Every fan at their concerts is 14 and wants to hear Pacific Daydream.
I don't even know that song. Fuck, man.
It's the album. It's fine. I'm literally on the Wikipedia page. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I wasn't gonna come up with Pacific Daydream if I was not on the Wikipedia page right now.
That joke about the next Weezer album's gonna be called Memes and Damn Daniel's gonna play the penny. Like, that's just like, it's so fucking real that it's not even funny. Like, every time that has ever come up, and it always, like, any conversation that ever turns to Weezer, which a weird number of our conversations do turn to Weezer, but anyone that does that joke comes up, and it's just like it's infuriating. Like, it's not even fucking funny. Like, it's too real.
So yeah, because they have the next album coming out in like a month and a half, almost 2 months, and they say it's inspired by hard rock and heavy metal, and Rivers said it's the Blue Album-ish, but a little more riffy, and I just don't believe it. You know, like, no part of me believes that.
No, they should just change names. You know?
Well, I mean, at this point,
Call
you don't like
Weeze.
Weezer. Yeah. At this point, like, you're not a Weezer fan. You like 3 albums from a band that happened to have Rivers Cuomo in it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, they should have just done like a Red House Painters Sun Kill Moon situation where it's literally the same band. They're just like, yeah, let's change names because like people got kind of tired of us, so we acted like we were a new band. Like, that's what they should have done.
Right. You know, I like Sun Kill Moon, but Sun Kill Moon himself kind of seems like he turned himself into a new band.
It's just like 20 years too late for that now.
Yeah. Well, that's
like, if they
true.
change after Maladroit and Beverly Hills is from a new band, okay, cool. Buy that. But
Can I
remember
retroactively say that it was a different band and say that the only true Weezer had Matt Sharp in it?
Weezer didn't start until Scott Schreiner got there.
Yeah, Tiny Cities is like the longest song's 4.5 minutes, and then I Also Want to Die in New Orleans has like a 23-minute song. Coyote's 12 minutes long. Day in America is 15 minutes long. I like it. It's strange, but I liked it. But
all right, so let's talk about I Can Feel You.
Let's get back to the band we're actually supposed to be talking about.
Look,
to make myself have anything to say, I'm going to steer toward bands that I know better. I don't know that I'm a great guest for this show, but
no, it's perfectly fine. I kind of prefer
I think
it's
great.
Okay.
We're already crossing the Weezer podcast territory of just hating on them.
Of hating Weezer? Yeah. Listen, if there's an adult Weezer fan that doesn't actually hate Weezer, then they're not an adult Weezer fan. Like,
I had a buddy who was just like, no, they're fun now. And I was like, go fuck yourself. Like, I was so...
like, I'm telling you, the biggest Weezer fan I know is 18 years old. And like, yeah, that tracks, you know? Like, everybody's favorite Weezer album is one that came out when they were 14 years old. It's just it's a Hari Kondabolu joke. Every time like you go to a Weezer concert and it's all 14-year-olds, how does Weezer continue to speak to 14-year-olds when they're like 45 years old? Like Rivers Cuomo is almost 50 years old, and yet still the target demographic of Weezer is 14. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, see, the nice thing is as much as we love Panic Station, as much as we love this song, there's very little about it online. So, the only thing is on this side of the Genius page, it's a song about feeling lost after the end of a relationship, and the author trying to figure out why every relationship ends up ruined. And that's literally the only thing I can find about anybody saying anything about it.
Well, that's because the song is it's that obvious. That's
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
it's pretty obvious.
They're not really trying to hide this one. This is pretty blunt. I mean, he literally says, I really hate that I'm alone 50 times in the song. Like,
for sure. No, I mean, it's kind of like, I was going to say It Had to Be You, but no, that's not the one. There's the one where it's just like, I don't know who you are. No, you know what? Never mind. I'm thinking of Carly Rae Jepsen's song. Which is
she really likes you. Is that what you're thinking of?
No, it's I'm thinking of in Call Me Maybe, where it's before you came into my life, I missed you so bad.
Yeah.
Where it's like you like, because that's what this is, right? I can't wait to find you. I really hate that I'm alone. Like I never thought of it as like trying to find out why every relationship ends up ruined. I mean, like there is that as well, but it's looking for the next one. I can't wait to find you. I hate that I'm alone.
It's actually strange. I mean, I think there is a little bit of hopefulness in it, though.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it's only, born out of clearly things not going well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I never know who I am. I only know what I'm not. Like, it is, I never learned how to love. I only learned how to fight. It's like I suck at relationships, but I just need to find somebody who will, work with me, like be okay with it. I
gotta be honest with you. Like, I did not feel like all that much attraction to the lyrics, to tell you the truth. Like, that wasn't not that I specifically like hate them or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, right? It's just like, I mean, he could just have marbles in his mouth, and the way the song is structured, it works so well. Like it could just be the fucking alphabet, and I'd be like, fuck yeah, like. And I feel like I feel like I would get it just as much,
Yeah, no, I feel that. Yeah, because it is one of the ones, like, it's a little bit more straightforward than some of the other ones, and it is one of those things where I think we talked a little bit about in the previous episode, where like there's sometimes there's stuff that's said in here that you're like, you're not even necessarily meant to remember, right? Like, it just sort of like fits.
It's just like evocative of something. You're like, okay,
yeah, you really just sort of feel the energy, and I don't know, like that's they do really well at that sometimes, where like sometimes you can look at the lyrics and it's like, oh, it says a lot more than I thought it did before. We came up against that in Indoor Living, the last episode we did. But sometimes it doesn't really need to say all that much because the songwriting is so good. Or like, the whole entire song as a unit is so well written that you don't need to worry about how the lyrics are.
Did you guys feel about this one? And I'm sorry to pull off the lyrics, but I feel like
no, go ahead.
We don't have that much. But you're not wrong. Did you guys feel like this? I mean, this almost works as like a mini album. Like.
Well, it's funny because I literally, as we were talking, I pulled up an interview that they did on The Aquarian, and apparently the song used to be a lot longer.
I can feel that.
So they shortened it up a little bit and made it this, but it's already like not a short song. It's 4:48, almost 5 minutes long. So like, which I think it's already one of the longer songs in their that they've done. Like they've got a couple over 5 minutes, but like I would imagine if it was the closer, it might actually be a little over 5. But yeah, I agree, right? Because it is already a long song, and like, the movements, because there is like the verse chorus, right? From that to the I can't wait to find you, hate that I'm alone. But then the I can feel you sort of is a separate, like feel separate, and then the whole run that we like is also kind of separate, and then it comes back to the I can feel you at the end. So I totally can see what you're saying there. Yeah,
it's like if you were to just expand it just a little bit, like you can basically get like, you could get maybe not an LP, but you get an EP out of it.
An EP out of this, yeah. No, I don't disagree. I totally feel that, yeah. God damn it. It's like I'm really like hearing it. I can feel that. It's the worst.
I guess I can understand what you're saying. I don't.
It just like so it's like I was saying, right, with the song being called I Can Feel You, like when I think of this song, I never think of that run and this song together. Like I know that run exists. When I listen to the song, I'm like, oh yeah, I love this run, but it does feel separate from the song I Can Feel You to me. So I totally understand. Like I definitely feel that.
No, from the run to the crescendo to the final, I can't wait to find you, and then you get the musical break after that, and then in musical break, I can feel you tonight. Is there another musical break after that, or it ends with I can feel you at the end?
No, I think it ends with I can feel you. Like a little bit of a. I think it ends on the word you.
A little bit of reverb. A little bit of reverb there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. I think of it as, I mean, this is just how I think of any songs though, as a contiguous package, regardless of, until it stops or until the next song starts, like it's one song. For me, it all works together.
I feel like the sections were disparate enough,
but it's
right?
set up. It's building to the run.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I'm just thinking like, with a little more, I wonder if it, expansion here and expansion there. If you end up with like a 12-minute song now suddenly that actually kind of is like just a standalone kind of,
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it's own fucking song. Yeah.
it's
EP.
like,
yeah.
an EP onto itself.
Yeah. I certainly agree. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot more to say. Because I think we've just said the same thing a couple times. Yeah, I think instrumentation wise too, I like the little instrumental section does. I don't know, the guitar solo. I'm a fan. I don't know. I think there's not a lot of Moog in this one.
I think well, you've got the organ that plays at points or whatever that sounds a little bit like an organ at points. So I listened through the "I Can Feel You" each version of that. I Can't Wait to Find You, Really Hate Them Alone. The first two sections of it, so I guess the first 6 times, it sounds like that sounds like a guitar, and then the final time that does sound like a synth. It sounds like they changed up the instrumentation there.
It's possible I didn't listen hard enough, but I believe you.
It's either that or the sound, it was subdued the first 2 times and then it came through more loudly on the third. But there's definitely like more of a modulated quality to it in the third, whereas before it does just sound like again, listen to it, just sound like a guitar going, or the bass playing that line instead.
Yeah. Did Jake? Did you happen to notice anything different on the drums? Because this was a Claudio song. This was obviously on Panic Station is all Claudio.
There's some songs on the Panic Stations where I really like the drums, like just before this with TKO, where you have the synth and the drums like playing together. But I like they're present and I hear them and I enjoy them, but it feels like there's so much going on in this song, like. Especially with the musical everything's going.
I listened for the drums a little bit and definitely I heard them, but I didn't really notice anything specific. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know that there was anything particular about the drums that I noticed, but this was one of the songs they played at the final show, which means that Tony played the drums on this one for that last show, so we'll listen a little bit of that, but I don't know if we'll notice anything different for that either. Let me skip a little ahead here.
Is that one you recorded?
What's that?
Is that one you recorded?
No, I wasn't at that show. This is from the final show, like the 2016
final show.
The final, yeah, the obviously not the final anymore, but the one that was the final show on the farewell tour.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely. I feel like I hear a little bit of a difference, but not like a whole lot.
Yeah, same. I don't know, but I also don't know if that's just the difference of it being live.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible too, but it's obviously, I mean, it's a different drummer. I don't know how much they played it with Claudio live, but when I search for it on YouTube, there's a couple of ones with Claudio live. Here, let me see if I can play a little bit of one with Claudio live. Yeah, I think just as not really drum people, we're not picking up the differences, if there are any. But all right, so I guess unless we have something else to say about the song, we can move on to covers and alternate versions, or just covers. There's no alternate versions for this one.
Well, this is just a lightning thing, but you were mentioning about song length, and top 4 longest songs, at least on Google Play, you've got Days Will Run Away at 5:23, Hold Me Down at 5:19, The Weekends at 4:48, and I Can Feel You at 4:47.
Which makes sense, yeah, because like I said, the closers seem to be a little bit longer in general, especially because a lot of them have that like long instrumental like fade out at the end. Like Hold Me Down kind of ends a minute before it ends, but not to say that like sort of.
I love the.
I love it too. Like, not to say that that's not important. It's not great. I'm just saying, like, the song kind of ends, and then at some point it's just like a, like it's. I don't know. I don't know how to describe that last little.
That's the thing that it just instantly makes me think of a postal service.
Yeah,
that sort of poppy, bubbly, not Calliope sounding, but like I want to say Calliope. Send.
Yeah, and then there's the I don't know, like sounds kind of like feedback. What's the word? Like the. Oh man, I can't think of the word, but like at the end where it just like gets all garbled.
Like it becomes like static, almost.
Compressed. Yeah, crunchy sound.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do a couple of the covers. I only found 2. There's a lot of drum covers for this song, weirdly enough. There's not a lot of covers for any of the songs on this album, as people might know from the Samurai Code, which we did a few episodes ago, where I had to do the only cover that we played. There's not a whole lot of covers for any of the songs on this album, but there's a bunch of drum covers for this song, which makes me feel like there's something going on in the drums that we're just not hearing as non-drummers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here is these are both kind of white guy with acoustic guitar covers, which, listen, we talk a little bit of shit about sometimes, but once again, I do a lot of acoustic guitar in my bedroom covers, so I can't really talk that much shit. So this one is from Mike Live 1285 on YouTube.
For the world to end. Dizzy indecision, veering off the open road, anchors away.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit here to hopefully the.
Only see in the dark, never kept in the night. Got a flurry of words, but I got nothing to say. Why does everything always end this way? If I asked you to let me go, would you hold on? Would you hold on? I try hard to let go, but the world is too great.
So, it's an acoustic guitar cover.
Fucking killed it. Yeah.
In fact, actually, this guy has a nice video of a how-to play this song on acoustic guitar.
Nice.
If you want to go and find it.
I feel like a lot of times when we see people doing the covers, and this isn't a criticism, but it is just, they're not like other people do the covers. I think wouldn't try as hard to do play the melody like that. Like that person was.
I did like that where he tried to play the melody. Particularly, again, as somebody who's not very good at playing music, and maybe could figure that out eventually, but one thing I think is he played the guitar a little loud over that run and muffled his own voice.
We got excited, right? He was getting all pumped about it, and he's just like, "Oh no, I got to do it," and then.
And then here is the other cover I found. Again, it's kind of an acoustic guitar cover, but a little bit more recorded. Here is this is Things So Impossible, and if you want to purchase this one, it's on Bandcamp from chorusfmcomps.bandcamp.com. Here is I Can Feel You.
Hard to learn the workings of this lonesome charade, filled with hesitation, staring down the tide. It pulls you apart, it stabs in the dark, it carries away. I'm starting to see the problem with me is
I like that sounded like a music box. At least coming through your speakers, sound like a music box playing the back. Dun dun dun.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that's a xylophone, but maybe it sounded like a music box. Here, let me also play a little bit of the little chunk that we like that run. So here's that.
Who I am, I only know what I'm not. It doesn't make any sense, it doesn't further the plot. I never learn how to love, I only learn how to fight. I only see in the dark, but never get through the night. I got a flurry of words, but I got nothing to say. And why does everything always end this way? If I asked you to let me go, would you hold on? Would you hold on?
It really sounds like somebody. Who does that sound like? Like, that voice. Does it sound familiar to anybody else?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
I can't place it.
I can't place it either. It sounds
sounded
like Ira Glass, kind of, but like not. I don't know. I like it. I mean, it's a perfectly fine.
It sounded like just one of those emo rock bands with the. I can't.
It sounded a lot
Right.
like it was like an Avril Lavigne-like voice, I thought.
Yeah, it did sound a little bit like a whatever, like a random emo rock band, which is why I thought maybe Alex would come up with it. But it is one of those, like, you know, like every pop punk band tried to sound like either Blink or Fall Out Boy at a certain point of time. So it's probably just one of those, like, here's our take on fucking, I don't know, My Chemical Romance. Can you tell I wasn't an emo kid? All right, so those are the covers. I don't think there's really anything else. Looks like we got another short episode in the books. Nothing wrong with a short episode. So I think that's gonna do it. Unless anybody has any final thoughts on the song or on the covers.
I mean, the timing of this is off, but it's just the run and him singing over, like how he's singing during that run, is something that happens in The Worst Is Yet to Come, and also something that he does in Pulp Fiction, and those are the two songs I could think of.
Like, what you mean when there's there's somebody singing in the background and then him singing over it?
No, it's the specific like how he is singing over the crescendo, over that run. I don't know what you properly describe it as, but it's just like, I guess I'd say it's the most noticeable when he's singing over a very noticeable change in the melody, and that's something that I've talked about liking on Worst Is Yet to Come, and also what I compared on Worst Is Yet to Come to Pulp Fiction. That's on Pulp Fiction as well.
The funny thing is, these are both songs we've done episodes about, and I'm not sure what you're talking about.
You know, maybe it's just something that, like, maybe I'm not really describing something that is a thing so much as describing something that I personally appreciate when it happens in a song. So I'm trying to describe something that doesn't actually exist. But there is a quality to the song that makes me think of a quality to Pulp Fiction and Worse Is Yet to Come that makes me particularly. I mean, I enjoy it all, but that's what I think of.
Yeah, I kind of can feel what you're saying with Pulp Fiction. Alex, I feel like we're about to say something as well.
Oh, there's this the Anchors Away line.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I was in the Navy. And and so
Alex was in the Navy?
I actually, I don't know. I think when I first heard that, it kind of clicked for me. It's like, oh, okay, this is a thing. Maybe I can like even more. But there's actually a funny thing. The lyrics, if you look on all the sites, it's Anchors Away, as in like pushing away thing, but that's not how you spell Anchors Away. It's a little thing.
Yeah, no, AWEIGH, right?
Yes.
Why would it? What? I didn't know the lyric sites all had it wrong like that. That's super weird.
That's because people don't know that word, and I don't blame them because it's the only time that you'd ever use it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it doesn't stand up to thought, because to throw your anchor away as in off the boat is to stop. So like, that's like, it would, dropping the anchor makes you stop. So so that's a little thing. That's my final thought on it is Hoo-yah Navy.
No, it's perfect. Panic Stations is full of water references.
Panic Stations has a lot of, like, specifically Panic Stations. They have a lot throughout the like every song, not every song, but in every album there's like a couple here and there. But like Panic Stations, I feel like has more than any other Motion
Also,
City
the,
album.
the cover art.
Yeah, I was gonna say the cover of it is.
I mean, the cover art, obviously, yeah, for sure. I agree. Yeah, there's like a lot of like weird,
Yep.
like weirdly, like it's just like I remember noticing it when the album came out in 2015, and just like hearing like there's a lot of nautical references in this album. So,
Well, water classically, represents change.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised by it in general. Like there's a couple, like they talk a lot about swimming and stuff like that. In Gravity, staring at the ocean, waiting for the world to end. That's in Gravity, right?
What's in Days We Went Away also has a reference, I thought. Does it? Staring at the Ocean is definitely a line
Sorry,
on the
that's
album.
Heavy Boots.
Yeah.
But
Did they know when they released this album, by the way, that they were going to be breaking up? Like, was this known to be a final album for at least a little while?
I don't think it was known. Like they said they have more coming. Like around the time, maybe they knew, and like there's probably the seeds of it, but it was never announced that it was the final album. They recorded the album, they toured the album, and then like 6 months later they said, all right, we're gonna do a farewell tour now.
Gotcha.
So if they knew, we didn't know.
Yeah. No, I was curious because I'm just thinking of, if there is this water theme, I'm gonna go back to my days as an English lit student here. It's a liminal space. Water.
Well, it is. I mean, to be fair, so this was the first and as yet only. I mean, probably will be the only album with Claudio Rivera on it as the drummer. So, like, if we're talking about change, that was a big change. The first 5 albums all had the exact same, like, the whole band was the same, and then between the 5th and 6th album, the drummer changed. So there was like at least a sense of change. And then also, so because the band broke up because everybody like had kids and stuff like that. So like there was, I mean, the reason the band broke up is because there was a lot of shit going on in their lives in the changing. So I can buy that, right? That the water representing change also represented the big change in all the band's lives, which then also separately led to the breakup. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all there. Or maybe we're just overanalyzing a pop punk album, but isn't that the point of the show?
It's the point of living, man.
The point of living is overanalyzing pop punk specifically?
Yes.
That seems legit.
I'll take that to my grave. Yeah, that is.
Wait, is that a reference to the Fall Out Boy album, Take This to Your Grave?
It is not. Fall Out Boy was one of those bands I did not listen to.
That's fine, but you said I'll take that to my grave, and Take This to Your Grave was literally a Fall Out Boy album. It was so perfect.
They didn't invent the phrase.
I understand. But we're talking about pop punk albums, and it's a seminal pop punk album. It's just it's a funny coincidence that you happened to say it.
Yeah, well, I think it's something to write home about. Get up, kids.
Anyway, no,
Get up, kids.
I got it. I understood.
Whatever.
Anyway, we'll commit this episode to memory. But first, Alex, do you have anything you want to plug before we plug our own selves?
No, I don't have anything happening. There is supposedly Book Droogs coming up, but Lord knows. First of all, I don't know when this is coming out, and secondly, I don't know when that's coming out. So
will you tweet about it?
Yeah, you can follow me at Fake Plastic Alex.
He doesn't tweet much, but maybe he'll tweet about Book Droogs.
And
maybe he'll retweet this episode
AAF
coming
tweets.
out, which nobody is unsure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you want to follow the show on Twitter, we are at Motion City Pod. I am at Kuhan. Jake is at XFIP-. That's XFIP, and then the word minus spelled out. It's a terrible Twitter handle. I've been trying to get him to change it for weeks. And
let's do it. Let's do it. What? XFIP Jake? You think that's good?
I don't know. Let's not say it right now.
XFIP with 2 P's?
I'm just not a fan of
I'll sell you Fake Plastic Alex for $10. I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for you, but
I think the XFIP part isn't great. Like, that's the weirdest part. The minus is okay. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out off mic. You can follow us Instagram. We never post there, but Motion City Pod. It's our Instagram. Patreon. We have 0 patrons, so if you want to be the first,
Please.
go ahead. Motion City Pod. MotionCityPod@gmail.com. Everywhere it's Motion City Pod, and if it's not Motion City Pod somewhere, we're probably not there. And then we're on all the podcatchers: iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify. If we're not on your podcatcher of choice, you can just do the RSS feed. All that's on our Twitter. And if you really want us to be on there, just tweet at us, and I will try to get us on there. That's going to do it. Thank you once again, Alex, for joining us on this episode.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, for sure. And until next time...
Anchors away.
Anchors away. Oh, anchors away. That's not bad. That's not bad. That might be it. We might have found it.
I can feel you tonight. I can feel you. I can feel you tonight. I can feel you. I never know who I am, I only know what I'm not. It doesn't make any sense, it doesn't further the plot. I never learn how to love, I only learn how to fight. I only see in the dark, but never get through the night. I got a flurry of words, but I got nothing to say. And why does everything always end this way? If I asked you to let me go, would you hold on? Would you hold on? I tried hard to let go, but the pull is too great. Consumed with the promise of one last chance. Are you holding on? 'Cause I'm still holding on. I can't wait to find you. I really hate that I'm alone. I can't wait to find you. I really hate that I'm alone. I can't wait to find you. I really hate that I'm alone. I can't wait to find you. I really